Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is Mr. Bolzman, and we're going to be taking a look at the three-quarter view blank. And this is going to be a drawing that we're going to do together over 3 sessions. So this is a three-quarter view blank, part 1. As we take a look at this, we can see that the three-quarter view is a little different than the front view or the profile. So right here I have this skull. And when we looked at things from the front view, we saw them like this. They looked at us from the straight on view. Let me zoom out just a little bit here. There we go. From the front view, things looked straight on. From the profile, remember last time as we were taking a look at this, we looked at this round circle here and then the line in the front. What this one is doing is this view has a little bit of both. So as you're looking here, the three-quarter view has a shorter side of the face and a longer side to the face. You can see that the line that goes through the middle of the face here normally doesn't go through the middle of the face. It's moved over. It's pushed over this direction. The eye level line will stay in the same spot, but you're going to have a larger side of the face and a smaller side of the face. So as we're looking at this three-quarter view portrait, it looks quite different. Here, I'll show it to you here. With this face, when you're looking front view, the main line runs right through the middle here. When you're looking profile, you can see the rounded part here and the different features that we looked at before. The three-quarter, we look at this three-quarter view, this is different. You see a smaller side of the face and a larger side of the face. And the line that runs down the middle of the face doesn't really go exactly down the middle anymore. So as we're looking at this, it's going to have some different challenges to it, the three-quarter view portrait. But from my experience with working with students with this is the one that everyone seems to do the best on, because you already have a pretty good understanding of how all of this works. Let me straighten this out just a little. Very good. You already have a pretty good understanding of how the face works, and that experience is important. Okay, so what I'd like you to do is download this drawing from your files, from your Google Classroom, the three-quarter view blank. It's in there. Hopefully you already have. And then there's also a three-quarter view blank 5 steps that we're going to be looking through. Today we're going to work through step number 1 and step number 2 and get a little bit into step number 3. So that's the idea. So you can see that we need to do some work with this in steps. All right, looking at this step 1, I'm going to go side by side here. When you're looking at this portrait, what I'd like you to do is see that there's an oval, like what we have been doing, in the face. But then what happens is then we're going to add a little bit onto the side back here. And we're going to move this line from right in the middle to over to the right. So let's go through this and do some measurements first. This is going to take a little while, so let's take our time. First of all, could you put your name up at the top? And the hour too would be very helpful. All right. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to start with a line at the top by drawing a line that's going to go straight over from the top of the head. So please take your pencil and put a line straight over from the top of the head. If you want to measure it from the very top of the page, let's pull that down just a little bit. You can go like this. You can measure it. It's this far. It's this far. So you can see that that line is going quite straight. Secondly, I want to go down to the bottom. So down here, I'm going to take a line that's going to go from the bottom of the chin, and that's going to come over. And so what we're going to do here is we're going to get the bottom of the chin line. So here's the top of the head, here's the bottom of the chin. So that should work pretty well. Now, when we're looking over here, what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to see that there's an oval right in the middle of the face here. So you could take your pencil if you would like to. You can kind of see it on this handout. You can see where this oval comes around like this. And then over here, it's going to come through the side of the face over here. I'm just kind of drawing that in there real lightly. You can kind of see where it looks like an oval, all right? Here, you can kind of see that that looks like an oval. The chin is going to cut off part of the chin, and it's not going to show all the definition with the side of the cheek there. There's also a line that runs straight up and down. I think we should start with that, actually. Okay, let's start with that, actually. So, what I'd like you to do is let's put this line that would run straight up and down the middle of this. Could you please put that line, bring it over, yay far. Okay, here you could measure, it's going to go like right through the middle of that eye, come over here, just past this a little bit. All right, so I'm going to have you put a line. Let's just see from the edge. Bring the line, put it up and down over here, a little bit to the right, just a little bit to the right of this opening. Okay, so this side over here is a little bit bigger than this side. All right, if you wanted to measure it against something, you could go from the middle of the eye out, and then if you just kind of imagine where that margin would be, that's a pretty good way to do that right there. Okay, so that line is going to run right down, not quite exactly in the middle of the eye. It's going to run down right through here, right at the edge of the iris. Okay, right at the edge of the iris. There we go. Now, what you can do with this is you can measure on either side of that. You can go back to like at the beginning of the ear where this line right here is going to come through, and you can measure over how far that would be. You can measure over about the same distance on the other side. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this oval here, kind of like we're drawing a front view face. Kind of like a front view face, only not quite. So the first step, and I'm leave some room over here so that you have some room for the border. And this line right here should go pretty much in the middle. I could slide it over here just a touch more. Let me fix that. So I'm going to put this line right down the middle. Sometimes when I make adjustments like this, it helps you to realize that I don't always get it exactly right first time either. So there we go. So now it looks just kind of like a front view portrait. Okay. Now, step 2 is the eyes aren't going to go on either side of this line like this. What's going to happen is his whole face is going to move over sideways like this. Okay, if I could show you again. If I were doing a front view face, that line would run right down the middle, kind of like what we have right here. But he's going to turn to the side. When he turns to the side, this middle line right here, this middle line is going to change. It's going to move. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go halfway between here and here. I'm going to put a little mark right there like that. Halfway between here and here, I'm going to put a little mark. Okay, that's going to go like right through the eyes. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put another curve that's going to go over to the right like this and just let that swing. This first part of this 3/4 view portrait with the measuring is a little tricky. You can end up with lots of lines all over the place. But that's this line right here that I just put in. See this red one? I moved it over about halfway in between. I put a little mark. I put a red, on the other one, a red line. On this one, just a really light pencil line right there. So I moved this middle line that far over, right there, that far over. So what I'm going to do with my measurement here, since I'm holding that measurement right there with my thumb on my pencil, I'm going to take that same measurement and I'm going to add it to the back of the head back here. Take out that little line because we don't need that anymore. So what I did is the amount of space that I moved this over to the right, I'm going to add to the back of the head right there. And this little mark, now I'm going to take up to the top of the head. This is going to show the back of the cranium. Because when I added that on, when I moved the head, I added some space back here. See? The amount that I moved it over to the right, here I need to add some to the left because the head is not a round ball exactly. So, there we are. Now, next is to put in the eye level line. Once you get this, and it kind of looks like a basketball or a pumpkin right now, but once you get that in, the next thing to do would be to measure the eye level line. And when you do this, when you measure the eye level line, first of all, what I'd like you to do is just to put the eye level line, see it goes at a little bit of an angle like this. I'm going to lay my pencil on there. You see how that eye level line isn't exactly straight across. In a 3/4 view, it kind of rounds up because it's going around kind of like a foreshortened circle. Some people will actually do a foreshortened circle right there, and that works good. So I'm going to measure this over. All right, so I have this angle right here. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to measure, like, let's just measure this point right here in the nose. Let's measure that. So if I measure up how far that's going to go, see my pencil is measuring from there to where my finger is. Then I'm going to come over here. I'm going to measure to where my finger is. Let me do that again. Where my finger is, right there. And you can put a little mark there. That's going to be the eye level line. And then you can check this angle like this. If I set this one on, I have that angle kind of in red there. You can check this angle and you can bring it across and put this angle in. It should be right about at the halfway mark. Just like that. There's your eye level line. Now with this 3/4 view portrait, the eye level line isn't exactly straight there. It just goes up a little bit in the 3/4 because it's angling up and away. Okay? Next, I can figure out where the nose is going to go. And I could take a line straight across here where the nose goes. It's going to go right there like that. I already have a line for the chin, but I'm going to need to add a little bit onto the chin down here. I'll do that a little bit later. So when you're looking right here, this is really important that you get to this point and you can see here it is with the red lines going through it. Get to this point with the 3/4 view. The 3/4 view is my favorite view to do. It's the most challenging, but it's also shows more of the face and it shows more character in the face, I think, than the others. All right, next, we're at 14 minutes. I'm going to go for another about 5 minutes. So the next thing that I would like to do is I would like to look at this portrait over here, and I would look at this space right in here, this little negative space where the eye level line is going to come right there like that. It's going to come up above the eye level line. Here's where the notch is. The notch is going to go right at the eye level line or just slightly above it, just a little bit above the eye level line. And then this is where the nose is going to come down and this is where the cheek is. Well, If you look at this and you take out all the details of that little eye and all, and you just look at that space right there, you can see that this space is really, really important. First of all, I'm going to put a little line coming across here where the top of that eyebrow goes. Just like that. Here's where the notch is going to go. So now what I'm going to do is I'm looking over here. I'm looking at this shape right there. Actually, I'm going to make it a little bit easier. I'm going to make this a little bigger. So I'm going to put this shape here right next to our drawing. Okay, so here's our drawing. There we go. Here's the eye level line right there. Okay, so you can see where we are. Here's where the top of the brow comes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this top of the brow line in. Then look how it angles down. See how this angles down? So I'm looking at this straight next to each other. Now, where this notch is going to start, the notch is going to start a little bit above the eye level line, right there. And it's not going to quite touch that line. It's going to come over right to it, but not quite touch it. Then I'm going to make a little swing, a little scoop move right there. And then if you look at this nose, I know that the nose has to come down this far because I've already measured it. So now I'm going to draw in the edge of that nose. This. That nose comes down at an angle. This is the bottom of the nose right here. So this is going to turn like that. And that's about all I want to do with that nose right now. So you need to look at this space right here by looking at this edge. Now, in order to finish this up, this little shape right here, on this side, if you look, you can see right here this eyebrow comes out. The eyebrow comes out. And then right here at the eye level line, it's going to go in right there. And you can feel on your own face, you can feel that there's a little place right there where it goes in. I'll show you on this. See right here. See where it kind of dips in right there. Here's the cheekbone. So when you put this up, we're looking at this shape right there, the smaller part of the shape. So if I turn this nose just right, you can kind of see where that forms it. The tip of the nose is not quite touching the cheek right here. Okay. Now, when you look at this, you can see here's where this eyebrow comes out. Here's where that eye socket goes in. Then just below the eye level line, the cheek comes out. And then it comes down like this. So this gives you your eyebrow here. Eyebrow comes in and it comes out like that. Now, I'm going to continue down here a little bit because when you're looking at the rest of the face down here, let's move this back. You can see, let's back this up just a little bit. All right, let's get this back in line. You can see that this chin comes forwards right here. You see that? So here's our shape there. Why don't you please try to bring this chin out over to the right a little bit. Just kind of give a good guess as to where that should go, right about there. Bring that chin forward because as the face moves over to the side, the chin, okay, as the face moves over to the side, you can see that chin is going to pop out a little bit more. So this is kind of what we're looking at right there. The chin pops out. See, when you turn it, the chin pops out. Here's the distance between here and the side of the face. So that's what we're looking at right there with this drawing. That's what we're seeing. Okay. Then you can take this up. And I think we're going to stop right there for this first day. The first day is pretty important for this, and it's very important to set this up. Tomorrow, we're going to work in the small part of the eye. We're going to put in the mouth. We'll put in the larger eye, and we'll keep going with it. So this is front view blank, part 1, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for drawing.